Hello everyone, I hope you are keeping well. So today we'll be talking about saving for emergencies. As we know, emergencies are those situations which we have no idea are around the corner. They sort of creep up on us when we are not paying attention. There could be positive emergencies such as a business opportunity that has come up that require us to invest some monies. As we know, with business opportunities, time is of essence. Sometimes the earlier we are able to exploit that opportunity, the better for us and for our clients. There could be negative emergencies such as illnesses, sudden illnesses, sicknesses, accidents, being laid off work. And as much as we wouldn't want these to happen as part of life, sometimes they do happen. So emergency funds are the monies we put down to be able to still live a decent life, or to be able to take care of at least our basic expenses when certain situations happen and we need monies immediately. I was going to say emergently. Immediately, yeah. Now, when we don't have such monies hidden, or when we don't have such monies paid, what happens? An emergency situation comes up and we find ourselves going to banks or other financial institutions for loans. And usually those loans, of course, come with interest rates, high interest rates. So we realize that already we don't have enough money, and the money that is coming in to support whatever emergency there is also worsening our situation in a sense, because we have to pay more than we have gotten from the bank, isn't it? Or we may even go to family and friends to help us. And unfortunately, sometimes they may themselves not be struggling with certain issues and not be able to help as we would want them to. So having these monies hidden away, it's really a way to remove a bit of financial pressure in a time where, situations, or in a time where there are difficulties, or you're facing certain difficulties or opportunities in your life. So how much do we need for an emergency fund? Basically, how much do we need in that pot which we are saving or putting down for emergencies? Usually we advise that target a savings amount of 3 months to 6 months worth of your expenses. So if in a month you spend 1,000 Ghana cedis, and I know this could be more for some, especially if you have kids and a family, or less for some, really depends on where you live in Ghana, all of that. But let's use 1,000 Ghana cedis as an example. If you are spending 1,000 Ghana cedis per month on your expenses such as rent or bills, feeding, transport, and all of that, and perhaps some snacks, but let's stay with the most important, or the basics. The necessities, as we say in economics. So let's stay with these. If we spend 1,000 Ghana cedis per month, then our aim is to save at least 3,000 cedis. Of course, because we don't know how long emergencies may last, or how long they may affect us getting regular income, because if it's an illness, you may find yourself not being able to work for a while. So if you could push to 6 months worth of savings, that would be amazing. So instead of 3 months, you go for 6 months worth of saving 1,000 Ghana cedis, not 6 months worth of saving 1,000 Ghana cedis, but having 6,000 Ghana cedis in your emergency funds. This would apply more, I would say, for salaried workers, because it may be, you may actually even get an employer, or find an employer who would give you a bit of a buffer when certain emergencies happen. But if you are a self-employed person, an entrepreneur, someone who runs their own business, then my advice would be to go beyond 6 months. In fact, if you can, and I would say I would really encourage you pushed to about 12 months. This is for two reasons. First, there's no stable income coming in. Sometimes the emergencies that happen mean that we are not able to run our businesses at all. Okay, so there's no monies coming in to take care of our personal basic necessities. But beyond that, when you run your own business, you're not just taking care of yourself, you are also taking care of this baby who is your business. Okay, so when I say yourself, you're not just taking care of yourself and your family, but there's also your business to take care of. And sometimes you would need monies, depending on the kind of emergencies. Of course, you may need some monies to make sure that the business still operates over a period of time. So I would say 3 months, 6 months, 12 months for all of us, if we can. I mean, the emergency funds, we build it over time. So if we can, then 12 months will be amazing, but at least 3 months to start off with. So the question then becomes, where do we get monies for our emergency funds? You know, we are talking about huge monies here. 3,000 Ghana cedis can be quite a significant, hefty amount to store away. Remember, this is money we don't want to access. So it's monies we know we have, but we can't use. And it can be quite significant for some. It comes from us. So these monies are coming from us. And I know they are, as we have said, they are huge amounts, but we start little. We would know from, our other videos that saving consistently, regardless of how small the amount is can be, it's a powerful way to build wealth. Okay, so saving consistently, little by little, regardless of the amount, 10 Ghana cedis per week. If you are self-employed, anytime your salary comes in, even before you think about all other expenses, you take out monies for your emergency funds and other savings before you start spending. So small monies, we start from, most of us are starting from zero. So we start from zero and then start building that money consistently. That is a powerful way to save. In fact, I won't say only powerful, but it is, that discipline is an amazing journey you'd be taking yourself on route to financial freedom. One thing with emergency funds is after we have saved or as we are building our monies, we may be tempted to have our funds on, mobile money or even at home in our susu boxes. And all these are amazing tools. But remember, sometimes we may be tempted to treat every situation as an emergency. So it rains, it's past rainy season now, but then it does still rain, doesn't it? And what happens is, the rain beats us terribly, let's say, on a Thursday. And Friday morning, you think, actually, I think I need a new shirt because yesterday I was drenched in rain, And for some, this can come across as an emergency. We may treat everything as an emergency when the money is easily accessible. Yeah, when we can just dig into our mobile money account or dig into, our susu box. So my suggestion would be to save the monies a bit further from you. Of course, the easiest option is a bank or a financial institution. I would say look for a credible bank, one that has stood the test of time, and save there. Now, when it comes to savings, because of inflation, okay, so when we think about the high inflation rate globally, really, but then also in Ghana, we realize that the values of monies drop quite a lot. So what this means is that when I put or when I deposit, let's say 1,000 Ghana cedis, or because I'm starting from scratch, I deposit 10 Ghana cedis or 20 Ghana cedis. Let's give it some weight. So I deposit 50 Ghana cedis in my bank account in January of 2024. what happens is that by July 2024, what I could have bought in January with 50 Ghana cedis would now be about 70 Ghana cedis. That's what inflation does. So prices of goods and services go up, but the monies we have do not go up in value. In fact, they decline relative to the monies we have saved in the bank or we have deposited in a bank. So what can we do about this? One strategy we have shared on this channel, and just to sum it up, is to try to look for savings accounts with quite a decent, interest rate. So you can talk to your banker, your relationship manager, go to any rural bank if you haven't opened a bank account yet, because our audience is quite vast, and have a chat with them. Ask them what savings accounts would come with really good interest rates. In fact, you can search this online, but if this is difficult for you to do, then just have a chat with your relationship manager, and they are going to advise you on easy access savings accounts. So these are savings accounts where you can go in. Sometimes there are restrictions. So some would say you can't withdraw more than 3 times in a year. Various restrictions really, but at least it gives you a bit of monies, or a bit of buffer on top of what you have saved. It may not be that significant, but at least it protects against devaluing the monies you have saved in your bank account. So these are areas we can save our emergency funds. There are a number of them, and once in a while we try to do our own research and share with you some of the banks that have really good interest rates where you can save these emergency funds. What happens if I don't have any emergency in the year? Some of you may be asking. So it's December and you realize, actually, I haven't touched this money. What happens? Of course, it rolls over to the next year, but you can celebrate. So you can have, 5% of the emergency funds. Hopefully you would have saved about, let's say, 500 cedis across the year. And trust me, do not despise tiny amounts. I call them tiny, but actually they are not. So do not despise any amount. If you've been able to save 500, celebrate, well done. That's a great start. And you can take, let's say, 5% of that and treat yourself to an ice cream. Anything really that keeps you going and keeps you disciplined on this journey of building your emergency fund will be an amazing treat for you. Okay, I hope this session has been helpful. Please look out for our other videos in Chi and other languages as well. Do take care. Bye.